Espresso Talks by Sphere Energy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Espresso Talks. Today for our 6th episode, I'm back with our two co-founders, Lukas and Luca, with a very, very important hot topic, the battery market and how it's evolving.
I mean, not an easy situation for the battery market right now. Really, as you said, not a lot of positive news. But yeah, what can we do? I mean, the most important thing is that we focus on what we're good at, right? And I think we realized over the last couple of years that cell manufacturing is not a joke. It's not an easy task. It needs a lot of time, needs a lot of money, and needs a lot of experience. And I think we realized that this is not so trivial and we can't pick this up as fast as we thought we can. So one may argue that the cell market is lost. However, we still have big hopes in the big captives like the PowerCo, Cellforce and so on, where really the buyer is also the financer of these operations. So we believe that they're on a good trajectory to survive and to be a serious competitor. But at the same time, we may need to focus more and more on our core strengths, strengthen our strengths, so to say, where, for example, system engineering is really something where we have always been good at in Europe, tweaking and optimizing a whole system. And in this case, it would be the battery pack or the battery integration into the car, and potentially focus on more smarter materials, right? Where we bring more features into several components to then reduce the overall components in a pack and reduce thereby the cost as well. For example, smarter pressure foams or smarter sensors that sense and give us information about the cell. A very upcoming topic is the multi-level BMS, where we really deal with every cell individually. And I think this is the direction we need to go here in Europe to stay and be competitive.
I couldn't agree more. And from a market perspective, what we really feel as a service provider to this entire market is this inherent contradiction between, hey, we all believe in this exciting technology, we all believe in the battery, we all believe in the electrification in general, but on the other hand, we have a huge cost pressure and time pressure as well currently in the market, especially in Germany and in Europe. And this contradiction is not easy, right? On the one hand side, we believe in the technology. We would now need to invest heavily in building up these capabilities and in building up these new systems. And on the other side, everyone in this value chain feels this cost and time pressure. And I think this is now on us, on every single player in this market, in making the most out of this contradiction. And yeah, we have a couple of ideas how to do that best and how to leverage technology to do that. But I think we're getting there in a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I mean, it's not just a light thing, right? I mean, all these failures, all this, negativity brings the energy down, brings the motivation down. So where to go from here? I mean, obviously we're talking the people that maybe were at these companies, but also for all the others, this is a punch in the chest, I would say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think now it's a time to really believe in ourselves again, and we at least believe in the strengths of Europe, right? In innovation strengths in Europe, but there are a couple of things have to change, right? One is definitely the, let's say, openness to new technologies, for example, and maybe especially AI, right? We need to really start not only talk about AI and talk about the fancy picture generation applications of AI, but really start working with AI hands-on in engineering and product development and learn as fast as possible to make sure that we can really unlock the value of these new technologies, which is less cost and accelerated speed in product development. So that's one, definitely. Openness to new technologies that we need.
And I mean, we also heard it in our previous episode with your AI engineers. I mean, obviously there's the hype about this AI, but there's also this big skepticism. So how to overcome that is, I'm sure, also a pretty crucial point here.
Yeah, and I think maybe before I answer this question, Amy, I think the market is maturing, right? We're away from the breakthrough technology, the next groundbreaking battery, blah, blah, blah bullshit. I think everybody realized now that's it's a serious market with serious competition and with serious cash and know-how needs. And we see that the market is maturing, we see business models maturing, and I think this brings me to the answer to your question, which is, on one side, the service provider market needs to change. The big engineering service provider need to rethink their portfolio, need to rethink their services. You mentioned AI and data as one very important offering, but also the clients. So let's pick the OEMs, the automotive OEMs as one client buying center. They need to rethink how they purchase services, because a lot of them have still the strategy to segregate and basically separate different services from different suppliers, which obviously makes it better in terms of supplier control, but also is a burden when it comes to system thinking. You rarely have supplier that overarch a specific topic or that work across units, and I think this is exactly what we need. We need to work together, and we see that in so many of our clients, that the business units don't work properly together, and here is where we lose speed and lose money in our eyes.
And this is then again where the link is back to the openness of two technologies, the new technologies that I mentioned, right? Just an example. Currently, what we experience every day, so when we receive a request for quote or a new tender for a testing, cell testing project or validation project, it's really purely focusing on the specific service that needs to be done to test and validate the battery cell. But in our opinion, every cell validation project needs to have a data component, right? And there, the openness or the transformation of purchasing behavior needs to change or need to come into place, where they need to think about other topics within one specific tender. So cell testing needs to come with data management, and eventually at one point will come together with AI as well.
I mean, you mentioned OEMs, you mentioned service providers. Where do you see the situation for cell manufacturers?
Yeah, I mean, they play a crucial role. We see it, especially I mentioned them, the captives are basically the only ones left if we look at all the French activities or the German activities here, competing with the Asians. And I think also they have to go deeper into the value chain and not providing only a cell as a product, but also thinking about which data do they send with. We still believe that there is a big potential for a cell manufacturer, for example, providing a fully parameterized model with their cell, because this then speeds up the process within the OEM dramatically, right? And if we have a captive situation where, for example, the automotive OEM owns as a subsidiary, owns a cell manufacturing company, then we need to fully think integrated and not one is building a car and one is building a cell. We need to think, how can a cell accelerate the car production and the car development? And there, for us, data, models, and simulation are essential.
And good news are that, we don't start from scratch. All these companies in Germany, especially when we talk about the OEMs, but also cell manufacturers, they're sitting on a huge value, the data pool, right, which is eventually valuable. And I think we just need to start using this data pool. And we have already a lot of knowledge, a lot of data, but the problem is now, okay, how do we use this? How do we leverage this? And I think this is, one step towards this direction.
No, absolutely. I mean, these are obviously great ideas. I think the vision is here, the how to do it is here as well. Why do you think this is not happening right now, or what is holding this back?
I think one important factor is who's responsible for it at the client side, right? Who's responsible for having the overall vision? Who's putting the money on the table to pay for this overall vision? Because obviously we all know cleaning data, harmonizing data, checking data, creating a data pipeline, it doesn't come for free. Simulation also is an initial invest. So who is the buying center for that, and who owns the responsibility of driving this efficiency? This is, I think, something where we're slowly seeing the market picking up, but where we believe that if we can create such responsibilities, or if the market can create such responsibilities in the clients, that's a big leap forward.
And it doesn't come overnight, right? It really needs a transformation. And in the end, all successful transformations start with one leader or a handful of leaders. So I think it's on those leaders in Germany to drive those transformations.
And sorry, just one last point. I think we need to, I know it's difficult after this diesel scandal and all that stuff that happened there, but we need to come back and talk to each other again, see what makes sense for the country, for Europe, combine forces, strengthen the partnerships. We have a lot of disentangled know-how and competencies in our countries, and I think we need to bring that back together and combine these competencies.
100%. I just want to touch upon something you said, Luca, earlier, because you said we're sitting on this huge data pool, this data lake, and some of your data scientists mentioned it also in an earlier episode, right? We have so much data and we have to do something with it, work with it to also enable what you said, this whole AI vision and everything. So do you truly believe that, yes, your vision is doing everything with an AI, enabling it with AI, finding the right niche to use AI with, but do you still believe that data is behind it all?
For sure. I mean, obviously, it's not only data, but I think data is, or how we work with data is, and how it always has been a bottleneck, right? Because in the end, it's just hard work.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It really comes down to, are you willing to do the hard work, put in the work to make sure that you can actually use your data and to have a strategy in place to understand which data points do you need to collect in which phase of your product development and how to use it, right? And I think I absolutely believe it is one of the key bottlenecks, and we just need to put in the work.
Maybe to wrap it up, where do you see Sphere standing in this? Where do you think Sphere comes in or could help with this whole situation in the market right now?
I mean, we really take this challenge seriously, and we see us having a big responsibility in there as well, right? We are part of this market and we are pushing our ideas, our vision for a faster, accelerated product development. And I think we do our best every day to develop the tools, the methods, and the frameworks that are necessary for it. We partner up with the firms. We had a couple of them here already talking about ecosystems. And now I think it's on all of us to understand where our core strengths lie and then work together to bring us on the forefront of this market again.
Absolutely.
Always with the clear objective in mind that whatever we do here in Sphere, at Sphere with our amazing team, is in the end enabling a more cost-efficient and an accelerated product development. So I think to have this in mind, the need of the client in mind, is something that drives us.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for this very interesting conversation and a super important topic as well. If you want to hear more about it, obviously get in touch with us. Our founders are always also eager to have a chat with you guys. And otherwise, I'm very happy to see you in our next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.